Brett will demonstrate how to field service a chainsaw. He gathers all the tools he requires. He has a screwdriver / wrench, also known as a scrench, a bar depth gauge tool, a hard bristled brush, a soft bristled brush, a star tool, and finally a cleaning cloth or rag. Brett will now clean the exterior of the saw with the hard bristled brush and the cleaning cloth. Note he is wearing gloves as the power head may still be hot. The saw is a working tool, so the cleaning job doesn't need to be pretty, but it should remove most of the large gunk that occurs from sawing. Brett has opted to keep the scabbard on the saw for this part and is optional. Next, Brett will remove the bar and chain from the power head. This is done by loosening the 2 securing nuts from the side plate. Notice that this should be done in a way that reduces the chances of slipping and cutting your hand on the chain. Notice the writing on the bar, it is upside down. When reassembling later on, it will need the writing to be up the right way. This rotating of the bar means that it will wear more evenly over time. He will put the bar and the chain to the side and now clean the rest of the power head. Note that he puts his finger over the oil slot. Placing your finger over the slot will prevent sawdust jamming the hole. Do not use any hard surface tool to remove the sawdust. The brush, cloth, or compressed air is more than sufficient. Next, the bar and chain need to be cleaned. Note how he removes the chain. Put the chain to the side for now. Working with the bar, you will notice it has a sprocket at one end. We will always use the tool from the sprocket end and move away from it, never towards the sprocket. Run the tool down the slot in the bar. Keep going until the tool comes out clean. Then try just one more time. Turn the bar over and repeat. You'll also notice 2 oil holes. These need to be cleaned too. Use the end of the bar tool to do this. If the chain has sap deposits on it, or it is very dirty, then a quick clean is required. Consult a chainsaw operator if in any doubt. Give the bar a wipe down too. If the cloth catches anywhere, it's a sign that there is a burr. Consult a chainsaw operator if this is the case. Next, we have to put the bar and chain back onto the power head. This is done by turning the saw on its side. Gravity will help us this way. Place the inside teeth or tang of the chain on the power head sprocket and lay the bar over the side of the saw. Align it with the tensioning pin. Then place the side plate on and secure with the nuts. Please secure the nuts tightly, but don't over tighten. Consult a chainsaw operator for the correct torque. To help you put the chain on correctly, here is one that is correct. Firstly, note the tang, that large tooth underneath the main cutting part. That goes into the groove on the bar. The chain will spin forwards, out and away from the power head, on the top of the bar. The depth gauge, the smaller tooth on the top, needs to be first out of the two teeth. You will see the smaller depth gauge would strike the timber first in this case. If it is the other way around, then you will need to remove the chain and fix it. Next we need to check the chain tension. This is done by pulling the chain up and away from the bar. You don't want the inside teeth or tang to jump out of the channel, but they should almost be able to. Consult a chainsaw operator for the correct amount of force to use to test this. If the chain is too tight or too loose, then consult a chainsaw operator. Next we need to check the chain is on properly. Firstly, check that it can spin forwards using the scrunch. Then engage the chain brake and the chain shouldn't be able to move. Then disengage and ensure it spins freely. If it doesn't, then disassemble and reassemble again. If the chain brake doesn't function, then consult a chainsaw operator, as this is a key safety feature that must function. To remove the air filter cover, put the saw into full choke on the throttle switch or the ignition switch. Then turn the securing knob and then lift the cover upwards. Note, only use a soft bristle brush on the air filter. You can clean it in position most of the time. If it's really bad, you may need to remove it to clean it or potentially replace it. Once finished, put the cover back on in the reverse to how you took it off. Next, the saw needs to be oiled and refueled. Note that we will always start with the oil. If the saw runs out of oil, it could potentially destroy the bar and chain. If it runs out of fuel, it'll just stop working. Starting with the oil, we'll open its cap and then pour the oil in until it's about 2 to 3 centimeters from the top. This leaves enough room for the cap to go back in. Close up the oil container and oil cap on the saw. Now we will do the same with the petrol. Note that a fire extinguisher should be kept nearby, as spilt petrol and hot saws do not mix. Test the caps have a good seal before tilting the saw completely over. Next, using the star tool, quickly check that each of the bolts are firmly done up. If any are loose, then tighten them. Notice that there are bolts on every side of the power head. Every saw will be different, so look out for them. A quick recap. Clean the outside of the saw, disassemble and clean each of the parts, reassemble, check the safety items work, then oil and refuel the saw, and lastly, recheck the saw before giving it to a chainsaw operator to do a final check and a start test. Please see your trainer for more detail or clarification. This instructional video is not designed to replace the trainer.